Advisory Committee meeting back to order, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We really don't want to discuss this stuff until we
No,
have a chance to digest it.
Right. Just take it in and,
Yeah.
the only question I have is if it's at the end of the year.
Yeah.
If this is the final,
Yeah. Start date.
that doesn't make any difference, until the 15th.
Well, yeah, no, it may not be, because of the transfer here that we have.
Right.
So it's not gonna be the final.
Right. Right, this is not the final, Kelly,
No,
right? Okay.
no.
That's what he was asking about.
Just preliminary.
Yeah, right.
So at this point, next on the agenda is approval of minutes from the last meeting. Has anyone had a chance to review them?
I haven't seen any.
Oh, Lee sent them
Lee
out.
sent them out right away.
Maybe I sent them out the day
Make a
after.
recommendation that we defer that to our next meeting.
Okay.
Sure.
I'll make a motion to table.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Quickly, date for special town meeting is the 18th. I don't really see that changing.
No, it's fixed.
So it's 18 July. Debbie, to back up one thing, the appointment of new member, I emailed you a letter to have you send to the town clerk.
Okay.
In the bylaws, it has the, calls it the secretary clerk, send that we have appointed a new member.
Okay.
I think it's all filled out. I did it the last time there was a motion made.
Okay.
And I think, so if you could just get that, I
You want
included.
that, you want that as a
Gotta be.
motion?
I don't think so. No, because it's within the
Oh,
bylaws.
okay. That's all right.
So, if you would just send that to Carol, today or tomorrow. Carol won't be in tomorrow, but then, Faith can go Monday morning and get sworn in. If Carol's not here, her assistant can do it.
Okay.
Okay? So, first thing, next is we have a transfer request. I think it'd be just easier if you just explain, if you wanna explain what the transfer request is.
So when we prepare the warrant for the annual town meeting, we try to anticipate any accounts that we think will be short come the end of the fiscal year, and we backfilled them. Snow and ice, and frankly, I can't remember the others. Our last opportunity to do that is around April 1. So in April 1, we're using our best guess of where we're gonna land June 30. We had two incidents which drove us above completing the year on budget. The first was that we had additional work that we had not anticipated in deploying the Office 365 and all the emails, and we had substantially more emails than we planned on because we gave one to every firefighter, so they now have a town email. The second was that we have some vendors that do things on an hourly basis, and they're not necessarily as timely in getting their bills into us. So that bill came in mid-June for about almost $4,000. So between those two things, we simply weren't able to finish within budget. Had we known about them, we could have tried to backfill it in April. We didn't. I will point out, this is the only interdepartmental transfer we've had to ask for this year.
So I have the transfer from other all benefits. I'm not gonna read the account numbers, they're here if anyone would like to see them, for $6,500. The present balance of that account is $246,080.24. It will be going to other information technology in the amount of $6,500.
The 24,000 that's in the. account?
246,000.
Oh, 200, okay, I'm sorry. And they were asking for
6,500.
65, okay, thank you. Okay.
Just to go from one to the other.
Yep.
Okay.
And what I'll do is, I'll sign.
Does it say the impact if this doesn't happen?
If you do not approve this, they will have to be informed that the bills cannot be paid, and we will be seeking at the fall town meeting authority to pay late bills. Given the size of it, given the cuts departments will have to take
Okay.
anyways, in this instance, instead of forcing the
Throw it out.
department to take it out of current appropriations, we would probably backfill it with certified free cash.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that that was out there, so people that are watching this understood what the impact is. I mean,
Okay. Any other questions?
make a motion to accept the transfer from, which account?
It's from all.
All benefits?
All benefits to information
To-
technology
To information technology.
in the amount of $6,500.
Yeah, amount of $6,500.
Second.
Any, no more discussion? Debbie?
Yes.
Will?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. If you're gonna be here until we're done, I'll take care of this and give this all to you.
Yeah, that's fine.
The second, so that's the transfer request. One thing of old business that we do have is a appointee to the capital planning committee. We still hadn't done it. Now that we have a full thing, I would like to make a motion to appoint Mr. May to the capital planning committee.
Does he accept?
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
I thought we kinda agreed to this last week.
Well, no, it was agreed to last week, just not by me, but that's okay.
I
will
mean,
do it.
if you don't.
Yeah, I didn't hear him agree last week.
Oh, okay.
He was
Okay.
reluctant, that's why I said, does he agree?
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Debbie? How do you vote?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. I think your expertise and stuff is gonna come in very handy for that.
Oh, yeah. Mm.
We did just get the budget versus actuals. However, I don't think that we can really comment on them since we,
We were hoping to take 5 or 10 minutes and just address a couple of the highlights if we might.
okay.
That said, I know the hour's getting late, and if the board wishes to defer. that, we-
You're here, let's
we-
do it.
we thought, so let me just say that these are please remember, these are cash bases.
Mhm.
And the encumbrances on the expenditure side of the house have not been inputted just yet. I'd like to ask Kelly to give you a broad overview, and then I have a couple of accounts I'd like to call your particular attention to.
So just to note on the expenditure ledger, all of the revenue for June has been posted along with the interest that has come in on the bank statements. So all of that, if you see in the allocated column, all of that has been recorded. So when you're looking at a grant or trust fund, you'll see that that is truly the actual balance in that fund at this point. There might be some minor changes, but I don't have anything specific. The one thing I do just want to bring to note is in the audit letter last year, which actually has been a couple of years, they've requested us to record the trust funds at the market value instead of the cash value. That's what all of the towns are doing now. So we've made those adjustments. So, you know, if you're looking and there's a big difference in any of those, I don't think there were many huge differences, but if there is, then that's why that difference is there.
For some of the new members, can you talk to market versus cash?
Okay, so we have all of our trust funds with Bartholomew, and so they're invested. So when we talk about cash value, that's what they're really worth, you know, as far as cash. But the market value is what, if they were to sell the stocks or whatever at that particular time, that's what the value would be. So that's why, you know, the auditors are requesting it to be market value so that it's more of a true report of what they're really worth on that time.
Thank you.
So that's pretty much on the expenditure side. On the revenue report, there's just a couple of things that I just want to bring to your attention. If you notice the tax title revenue, Cheryl was able to bring in $165,000 this year in tax title. She's done a very good job of making sure that we're getting notices out to people. And, you know, that's a remarkable amount for 1 year, you know, with not having any like sales or anything. That's just truly getting people in the door to pay off their tax title. So that's wonderful. The other thing to note is on our state aid payments that we get for each month. Unfortunately, the way.
Before you go to that, can I ask one
Sorry.
question?
Yes,
On the first page, you have motor vehicle excise tax revenue,
yes,
okay? Is that what we brought in each of those years for that month?
for this year, yes.
For this year, so how are you, for a
Through-
2011 vehicle,
Well, no, it's money that, that is with Jeffrey and Jeffrey. So it's money that we didn't collect in 2011. So that has now gone to the collection agency of Jeffrey and Jeffrey.
okay.
So as they collect money, they send it to us and tell us what year it was.
So are all of these in collection?
Yeah, we have money in there from 1985.
So you have over $1 million excise tax that hasn't been paid to the town? 'Cause on-
No.
No, that's what's coming.
No, that's what's collected.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what's collected?
Yeah.
That's
That's
what's been collected
Ah,
so far
okay.
in the
Don't
motor
scare me
vehicle
like that.
this year.
Well,
Yeah.
no, what I was
Well,
trying to
yeah.
reconcile is the fact that we're at $122 and then all the way up this year up to $990,000, so, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
The
I paid
collection,
mine on time.
Yeah.
the collection rate for motor vehicle excise as of June 30, the amount of bills that were sent out during fiscal 19, in comparison to the amount of money collected as of June 30th of 2019, was 99%.
Good.
Doing really well.
99%.
That's very good.
Personal property was at 99%,
Nice.
and real estate was at 97%.
Because that affects, for some of the new members, that affects their ability to take and end up registering vehicles.
In addition,
Yep.
an additional 1.5%, if you will, was brought in from tailed or outstanding taxes. So anything at 96, 97, frankly, I'm very happy with.
Okay.
Thank you, Colin.
The other one I want to note is the state aid payment that we get every month. Unfortunately, this year, the way the month fell, that the 30th fell on Sunday, in my opinion, I feel that the state should have done a day ahead, but because it fell on Sunday, we didn't get our state aid for the month of June until July 1st. And because we're cash basis, we can't count that in this fiscal year. So next year, we'll have an extra state aid payment that will be reflected, but that doesn't help us in this year. Other than that, everything seems to be, you know, in fairly good order. So we're doing really well. When you look at what, if you look at what our general fund approved budget through the DOR was the $16,307,000. We actually took in $16,864,000. So we not only took in what we had budgeted, they had approved it, but we took in $371,000 more than what we were approved in our budget. So that's excellent. Yeah.
I would like to also draw your attention, when you get a chance to look at this, our projection for the meals tax that was adopted was $42,000. I was off. It was only $41,708. So we blew it by $296. But I think that it's,
On the-
you know, fairly close for
Okay.
budgeting at this level.
Right, too, but they came
Okay.
in under.
So overall, the revenue picture,
Yeah, that's
there is one item that we received from the Office of the State Treasurer as part of our closing, audit closing. I now require that they look on the state's website to see whether or not there's any abandoned property. There was a substantial amount. We aren't comfortable booking it just yet until we do a little more research and understand, because it was,
67,000 from the sale of stocks. So in the 90s, someone from the town purchased Hanover stocks. Insurance company stock. And it's been sitting out there, waiting. So when we requested that, they sent us the check for 67, which is the market value today. So we're just still trying to track down. We want to know more information of, who purchased it, to make sure, before we book that
Before
as
we book that,
revenue, and somebody comes back, and says, oh, by the way, that wasn't for you, because technically the town should never purchase stock.
Right.
So that's our concern.
however, given the financial management of the community, it's very conceivable that in fact that did happen.
Somebody could have donated the stocks,
Well,
and
No, they were
no, they
physically
were physically
purchased.
purchased
Oh, by the-
Purchased by the
by the
town.
town,
by
in the
oh,
name of the town
okay,
of
okay,
Templeton.
thank you.
Yes.
So the only thing I will say is that if you're out there and watching, do go to that Secretary of State's office. I check it occasionally, and it's actually been worth some money to us.
So, just a question, the 371,000 additional that you collected, is that correct?
Yes.
Where's that money go?
That will flow through to free cash.
So free cash is essentially what you underspent of your approved budget, plus what you over-received on your income budget,
Right.
minus any set-asides, liabilities, or outstanding issues that they feel
I'm gonna
are
ask
waiting
a
some sort
naive
of
question.
cleanup.
Could the town use that money to cover this budget, potential budget?
No, because it has
It's
to be
not certified.
certified.
I mean, after
Yeah.
it's certified.
Right, but it can't
It-
be,
The town, it can legally use free cash for operating expenses once it has been certified and appropriated by the town meeting.
So the answer is yes,
Philosophically,
but there's a
Right.
process it has to go through, and then whether you would want to do that or not is a different question.
Exactly,
Okay.
and
All
that
right, thank you.
process is generally, at best, not completed until,
Late,
Late
yeah. I
we
know.
were late
Yeah,
October last
last
year,
year,
and
yeah.
we were actually on the
Yeah.
early end of the curve.
Okay.
There are some communities that still don't have their fiscal 18 free cash certified.
If I might, probably be for Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Just a question on that total general fund number.
Yes.
I just, looking down, and it might be just the fact of the hour, but it says 16,307,959.94 is what was approved,
yes,
and 16,864,942, which was received.
yes.
I believe that's $557,000.
Roughly.
Okay, and so what's the difference between that and the 371 that shows the remaining? How do we come up with that?
I don't know. I will have to double, I
Okay,
must
if
have
you would,
something.
If you would just take that as a question and
Betcha.
just.
Yeah,
that
there
would
must
be-
be
yeah.
something in my
Thank you, Bob.
formula.
Yeah.
He's great at
It-
stuff
it-
like that.
Yeah, I
didn't
think,
even
I
do the
think I
math,
know
I
where it
just
is.
saw.
He is
I
an
know, I
excellent,
just looked at it, and it was a,
I didn't want to do
he
public.
he is an
comment.
excellent proofreader, and I've
Okay.
thanked him many
I'll
times for
check
that.
that. Thank
thank
you.
you, good, thank you.
On the budget side, if I might, first, there's, I want to re-emphasize, I say this every time I think I'm in front of you, of the rate at which cash is burnt bears for a substantial number of departments absolutely no relationship to the rate at which you burn the calendar. So if you got a $28,000 software budget, purchase a service, and you get a bill for $25,000 on July 1, when you get the July 30 report, we have spent virtually the entire budget.
So you know how I feel about that.
I understand, and you know where I'm coming from.
I want spend plans.
So, I mean, that is a continuing, I like to spread the word.
Okay.
There was a question at your last meeting of why something hadn't been spent. It was $417,000. Conversely, when the bill comes in on June 15, we'll pay it.
I noticed it's missing.
It's, you know,
Going.
so, it's paid now.
Yep.
Thirdly, there was a question at your last meeting as to why we took the time to enter the 2020 capital. And the reason is twofold. The first is to try to get our orders placed as quickly as possible. Our hoped-for one-ton truck that we went to place the order for is no longer being built. They've even changed the series number. I guess the Ford 550 or 450 or something's gonna be F600 or something. The salesmen don't even know what the specs are for it yet. They don't know what the pricing schedule's gonna be, and we will not get it until February or March. So we've been trying to get some of this equipment ordered earlier, not only to try to keep our prices down, but also because of the condition of our fleet. We are often not getting the equipment until late in the winter after we've already had to park stuff off to the side. So we have been trying to be, to the extent that we can, more aggressive. We need the hot box to do Phillipston Road, you know, different things. So that's why those are not limited by a July 1 start date. So that's why we took the time to book those so we could start spending them. With that, be happy to answer any questions after you have a chance to look this over. Shoot us, and I think it'd probably be another 10 days, 15, before we get the encumbrances
Yeah.
in
Okay.
and finals. So probably the end of the month before we can get you.
I would just
what looks
ask
to
if,
be final.
I think our meeting's almost done. We have the bill here for ATFC. Gonna try to get this to you
Okay,
and get
I
everything
can
to
wait.
you, so.
But that's for next, this coming
No, I
year.
could do, yeah.
Yeah.
I was just gonna do those part of
Yeah.
new business.
Okay.
So first new business, we have a bill from the Association of Town Finance Committee. It's our, I believe it's our membership dues.
Yes, it is.
It's for the amount of $180. It is in the budget. We count this in there, and especially now that we're not gonna do Vadar.
Make a motion to pay the Association of Town Finance dues for the year 2020.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? Debbie?
Yes.
Will?
Yes.
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 Lee? And I'm yes. I'll just get
Right at 9 PM.
everybody to just sign that, and I will get that to Kelly tonight. I have
There
those
you go, you
copies
can-
of the transfer. Before we do member comments, I do reserve the right to take things out. The date of our next scheduled meeting is the 18th. Obviously, we will be at a special town meeting. So that, and since we're having this meeting, we won't have a meeting. The next meeting after that will be the 1st of August? I think it's the 1st of August is the first Thursday.
It's,
August
yes, you are
1st.
correct.
I will get the agenda out for that. So, any questions, Bob, 1st of August, did you hear that?
No,
Our next meeting here will be the 1st of August. Obviously, we have a special town meeting next week. Any member comments? Debbie?
No.
I'm making you go, Will, ask Will. Bob?
Yes. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have comments?
No, no, I don't, sorry. I'm not,
Faith, since we will not
Getting
be
late.
voting on
Most of it.
anything, do you have any comments?
No.
Lee?
So just wanted to ask a question. We were talking about this a little bit during the break. So there, on social media, there are certain websites, Facebook certainly is an example, where there are pages where people from the town can comment, and certainly people on both this committee, the select board, anyone can comment. And I just want to make sure from a legality perspective that no one's doing anything that they shouldn't do. So what shouldn't people do? You know, if you put up your personal opinion as a member of the town, if you live in Templeton, is that in somehow going to break open meeting law? Just what are the do's and don'ts to that? Because honestly, I have no idea. I've been watching the sites. I've not commented on anything. but again, I just wanna make sure that no one does anything that they shouldn't do, so.
So there's some interesting thoughts across the state as to what is permissible. First and foremost, I think it's vitally important that when you're on a committee such as this and you're expressing your personal opinion, you make it very clear this is your personal opinion and you're not speaking on behalf of the committee. The second is, if you're all looking at the same website, and there's two different bodies of thoughts on this, and you comment, and then you comment, and then you comment, and then you comment, there are many across the state, and some in the Secretary of State's office, that would say that was a serial conversation, which constitutes a conversation a discussion
Yep.
in violation of the open meeting law. So there are those that say, no, it's a social media site, and we should be able to say stuff. And if you're all comment on your favor, poodle, who cares?
Right.
But if you're all commenting on Article 1, it looks like cross-fertilization of information. So whatever side of the coin you're on, it has been whether you think that is a violation or you're somebody who thinks, no, not really, that's just my right to speak. I think the perception is, somebody earlier said tonight, perception is reality.
Right.
And to the extent you avoid that kind of conversation, I've always advised people to try to not be doing that.
Okay, that's fair.
I think that's a really good point for you to bring up, because I made sure, I'll admit, I have commented on those, but I've made sure that it's just me. I don't ever say I'm a member of the advisory committee or anything like that. I've never put that on there, but I think based on what you just said, I think my days of posting are probably done.
I just wanna make sure that we're all careful with what we do, so just figured I'd bring it up.
I mean, if there's a question and you say, let me answer your question, but then Tony chimes in, well, here's my point of view on that. So it's kind of a bit of a minefield.
Yeah, without a doubt, which is why I brought it up, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't really, I tried to provide facts and not questions. so.
But everyone.
You're right, you're right.
Facts aren't facts these days, right?
That's a good
So,
point. Mr. Spring?
yeah, anyway.
My only comment is that based upon what we were handed as, from the selectmen's point of view, additional motions, that if the articles do not pass or pass, we have substitute motions that'll be done by the selectmen. We have an opportunity at that particular time to end up caucusing and give another recommendation based upon whatever comes up as a substitute motion. It could be from the community, it could be from the selectmen. And that was, I especially want to take and end up our newer members to take and let you know that's a possibility.
Sure.
And for our newest member, please get sworn in before next Thursday.
I would have already been sworn in if I could have.
Well,
I will,
if you
though.
didn't send an email, it would have already been done by now.
What's that?
I'll talk to you about it after. Any other comments, Mr. Spring?
No.
And I have no comments, so take a motion to adjourn the meeting at 9:07.
I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 9:07.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passed.